Greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's class. So you're with me, and I'm with you, and I have others here, which is really exciting because, as I said last week, it's been so many months since I've been teaching with real live people. So I'm so used to looking at you. Anyway, um, today's class is about the autumn season. Going into it, we feel it. It's a time of transition, and being on the East Coast, I really feel it all the more. You know how things get so cool and crisp, and now we're having a lovely warm day, but not hot. And it's a time of resilience. I was listening to Scott Blossom, who's a wonderful Ayurvedic teacher. He's talking about how autumn is about resilience, the capacity to maintain our rootedness and our centeredness. We really need that now. Really need it. And here we are, just take a moment and feel this earth. It's like that's a wonderful way just to feel rootedness, your place here on this earth. Yeah. Over this weekend, with the Jews celebrate the Jewish New Year, right? A time also of resilience and renewal. So it all comes together. It's the autumn equinox, just to keep balance. And that's what Ayurveda talks about, right? How do we live in harmony and in balance with nature? It's always changing. Now, of course, our essential nature, our absolute nature, is constant. And we can use all of these relative tools. If we live in harmony, we'll remember who we are at our essence. You know, that's what I've come to know. If nothing else, you feel better being in this body. You feel better being in your heart and your mind. And hopefully, we all connect to each other, just like me. We connect to the planet just like me. We connect to each other. And we need that. Scott said something really, it was good. He was talking about, I'll read it to you, that out of balance, we become ungrounded and unrooted, and it will disturb our digestion, right? So we'll be looking today at the yin practice, and in Chinese medicine, we look at the lung and large intestine meridians. The lung and large intestine run through the arms, but of course the energy flows through our body. So there you go. Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, of course, they intersect, right? When the emotional feels off balance, it feels traumatic, and we're living through traumatic times. We are. This is going to be imprinted in us. We can, I don't know about you, but I already feel, I don't know about you, every time you get a little cough or uh-oh response, right? Uh-oh, is this something? Uh-oh, is this something? That comes out of a trauma, and that's happening here. So how do we balance that? And we're imbalanced mentally. He speaks about clarity of thought and the ability to organize. So our movement and our dietary and our awareness practices help to bring us balance and home. And they change a little bit. I mean, all practices are always good, but we just shift a little bit with seasons. I personally, in my constitution, how I go out of balance mostly is in this season, and it's the Vata constitution, that air, digestion, I get the coughs, that's how I tend to go out of balance. So during that. And Vata is also not only a time of year, right? It's a time of life. So it's a time of day. I admit my Vata time of life, right? So we know as you get older, the skin dries, things dry out. The season, the trees are drying out. We're all going, oh, you have a Vata group here, almost. Not everybody, almost. Huh? You're starting. All right. And all of us out there all have that way that we're living, there's a time of day, there's a time of life that we go out of balance. So we're going to look at that today. I want to say a little bit about just that Jewish New Year, Shana Tova, right? It's a celebration of life, it's a celebration of light. It asks us to look at our life, and I think we're always being asked if we want to live a mindful life. In my life, are there things I want to do differently? So this is that holiday where what do they say? They open the book, life, and then on Yom Kippur the book closes, right? So it's a time of reflection, really. I like to think of that. And so we come together with a practice, a time to reflect on how we want to live our life. What we could have done differently, how it to stepping forward into. And of course, the equinox speaks about balance, and it's also harvest time and abundance. Um, we have a garden, and the abundance it just kept coming. It was just so wonderful. The basket, Hasita has this amazing garden. You can't see it, guys, but there's a vine plant growing up the tree. Maybe you can turn the camera. And there are zucchinis hanging out of the tree. Everyone's going, "Oh my God!" Anyway, I'm going to show you, just because it's worth it. See if I can do that. I don't know if you could. There they are. They're over there. I don't know if you can see them hanging. Anyway, it's amazing, right? So they were in it real time. Okay, so there we go. So we're celebrating this season in all its way that it shows up in our life and in our bodies, our minds, our hearts. Okay. And of course, thank you very much. All right, so we're going to begin. Before we sit with the yin pose, then we'll come up and we'll chant a Ganesha. We'll sit for a while and we'll continue with our yin practice. Wherever you are, if you have a blanket, you want to spread it across. That's always a nice idea. And then come up with your hands. If you like to do this pose for sitting, probably do it every day because it open the physically. It helps to settle the mind for the right? Everybody good? Perfect setups. All right, so then come on to your hands and knees, please. And just so everybody knows, so all that in and out of my voice, that should be fixed too. I'm always trying. I know. So okay. So right from here, spread your knees nice and wide. And then press your buttocks back towards your heels. If this isn't appropriate for you, come on your back and spread your knees wide. And remember, there's a little press in the hand. Your weight in your hips. And come down on your elbows if that feels right. Use a blanket or a bolster. You can stay here, or if you like, you can spread the arms, right? And rest your head on your hands. So we all know the first step is to come into the place that feels appropriate. That means now what's appropriate? What edge feels appropriate? If it feels like too much, you back off a little bit. And then around in the body, remember that the muscles are passive. And the way you know that is by scanning around to see if there is any unnecessary way the muscles are holding. And then take a breath and I know my own body is just holding so much tension unconsciously in so many places. I've really recommitted to a longer yin practice every day to help this poor body and all that it's living through. I feel a difference. Experiment with the arms if you want more in the arms, since we are working with those meridians, you can lengthen them around or out to the side a little bit. Or again, just keep them under the head, supporting the head. So appropriate pressure, muscles are passive, and we stay a while. And then remember the ally of your ujjayi breath, that little contraction in the back. Mm. And just by being here, we get to see the condition in the mind, the condition in the body, the heart. And it's not that we have to get rid of things. It's sometimes such a misnomer about our life. We can't just get rid of things, but we can meet things with a spaciousness. We can meet the challenge with a heart of kindness for ourselves. We can feel our body and relax a little bit. Relax in the body, mind and the heart relaxes a little bit too. So it's a doorway, right, into all the sheaths, all the bodies, the physical, mental, emotional, and bodies. That is the relative way we experience life amidst the absolute that we are. Hmm. And then we and let ourselves be, let all conditions arise and pass. Trust yourself in the shape, something's happening. Hmm. But before we come out of this pose, just take a breath or two in a variation. So if you would just come up onto your forearms, take your left hand out to the outside of your mat, slide your right arm through, a little twist, and come down as you can. Hmm. If you can, stretch your left arm overhead. Hmm. On the mat. Sorry, just keep it on the mat. There you go. And relax here for a few breaths. So this really gets even more into the arms. And while you're there, visualize the route of the lungs that begins at the upper just below the outer clavicle collarbone. It goes along the inside of the arms, along the thumb side to the palm surface of the arm and forearm, over the wrist, and it ends at the outside of the base of the thumbnail. The lungs, the rulers over autumn, the stronghold, and the root of the breath. Take another breath here. And then slide your left hand back to the earth. Press and come back up as you take the right arm and come back into your forearms. And pause in the center there. Feel the effects. And then let's twist the other way. Take take your right hand out to the side and let your left arm slide through. Now, of course, if you need something, you can support your head on it. And then walk your right arm overhead on the mat. Let it relax. Keep scanning and relaxing. And begin to visualize the route of the large intestine, the meridian. It begins at the base of the index fingernail. It goes between the thumb and the index finger. It travels along the outside of the forearm and the arm, over the shoulder, up the throat, over the jaw, to a point beside the nostrils. So all these poses that involve the arms nourish the lung and large intestine. There are other meridians as well that are getting nourished. Take another breath or two here. And then please bring your right hand to the earth. Just come to the center for a moment. To release, come up onto all fours, lift one knee and draw it in, and then the other, and come back into your child. If you're on your back, simply draw your knees into your chest and come down. Take a moment to savor that release. Savor the energy that is moving through you. This is really the second half of the pose. Please find your way up to sitting. Get what you need for sitting, either a cushion or a blanket to sit at the edge of. Hmm. Hmm. And then do what you need to organize yourself in your seat, grounded and long. Inhale your shoulders up and exhale them down the back. And do that one more time. Inhale up and exhale back. And let the shoulder blades tuck under the heart and the neck grow long. And the eyes are open or closed right now. You might like to open them for a moment just to take in through the eyes. And then allow them to close softly and take in through the sense door of hearing. And sounds come and go, all the ways we experience the world. And simply feel yourself here and now, here in this precious human life. And acknowledge the quality in the body, in the breath, and the energy, in the mind and heart. And recognize that you are aware of being aware. You are that awareness. And over this time, particularly what we're living through, we're always be wise to remove the obstacles that help us to live free and awake. And so let's chant to Ganesha Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. We'll chant it, I'll chant it once and then we'll chant 3 times together. Okay? I'm thinking of Ganesha, that elephant, half human. How grounded is Ganesha? Can all sit here like Ganesha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Together. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And while the outer chant falls away, feel the resonance, and it might continue as a little whisper. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Mm. Mm. And then allow the mantra to fall away for a few moments and feel this experience inside yourself. Mm. And let's take a few moments to take refuge in that place that is awake and whole and infinite, absolute awareness itself. So from now until I fully awaken, I vow to take refuge in loving awareness, my true home. And pause and recognize, touch that, even if it's just like cracking a window open just a little bit, the freshness of that. But of course, we are human and we stumble, we fall, obstacles reveal themselves. And so I vow to take refuge in the path of loving awareness, the road that leads me home. And so just that recognition of the Dharma, the teachings, the practices that call us home again and again and again. What a blessing to have this path. And we know we are nourished and fed by community, by the Sangha. And so I vow to take refuge in the Sangha, those who aspire to live awake and free, my spiritual family. And then just take a moment. I like to feel them in my heart, feel you in my heart, and all the teachers and beings that, bless me in so many ways. And we remind ourselves how we want to live, that we are here not only for ourselves but for others as well. So from now until all suffering is experienced as liberation, I will bring benefit and happiness to all beings, omitting none. And we never know how our words or our actions fall on others, but we do the very best we can through our intention, our commitment. So let's sit for a few minutes together. Your breath can be your anchor. You might rest with the mantra Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, or simply rest back in open, spacious awareness. And awareness is aware of all the conditions that arise and fall back from where they came. And as we sit here, as we set this intention, it is the first of what is spoken of as the three excellences. We start a formal practice consciously, arousing our intention to practice for all beings. Aligns our motivation and integration with all the wisdom traditions. So I vow to awaken to awareness for the benefit of all beings. I appreciate that it is of immeasurable value, and I believe it's possible now in the life, inclusive of conditions and circumstances. Take a breath and feel where you are right now. The gifts of practice have already begun. And then please, if you like, join me. Let's chant the sound of Om. Taking in a breath. Hari Om Shanti, peace. And if you like, bring your hands in prayer. Jai Bhagwan. Jai Bhagwan. So lovely. All right, we continue. Our next pose is butterfly. So simply slide your feet away. Nice little diamond. Have whatever props that you like. Just have your props near you so that if you need them, you can get to them quickly and easily, right, without it being a big deal. So whenever we can, we're going to just lengthen the arms, just to put a little bit more in the arms, but you do as you can. So a little dog tilt, right? Rock the pelvis forward so the spine is gently lengthened, and then let your spine round. Mm. It's really nice to have a block if you have it, or a pillow or a cushion. And then over time, you can change the height of it as your body opens up. Hmm. So it takes a little while to climb in, right? It also means stay grounded to meet the moment right where it is. You can watch how the mind tends to flit around or want it different. So just go where you can go. This is what we're working for here in this practice, a practice of groundedness. Vata makes the mind flurry. When you see that happen, just take a breath. Once again, feel back into your body. Feel your body touching the earth. Hmm. Hmm. So the second excellence is the practices. It's the main part. And that makes it potent with enthusiasm and a lack of critical doubt, right? So we just surrender. Allow the practice to show you. And you need time. You need to be willing. We vow to enter from not knowing. It's like, so what? And just with the body, maybe the body was a certain way yesterday, but you're not going to know how it's to be today. So it's a willingness to not know, to not assume, but to know, do assume that this is the perfect place for you right now, the perfect teachings for you right now, the perfect time, the perfect teacher, just where you are. Hmm. And then when we can drop into that place of surrender, just for this moment, just for this time together, we can relax. And as the body relaxes and you want to ease in a little more, you can come down a little further. Hmm. Now bring your awareness of that breath right down into the soft belly. What a great place to feel the ground, this belly, this life. And as you inhale, just a sense of gathering here. And as you exhale, storing, gathering and storing right below the navel with the soft ujjayi and the rhythm. 1 ohm, 2 ohm, 3 ohm. You see where it goes and you let the exhale match it. It's not a forcing, but being shown what's so. Take another breath or two and see where the body might like to go to. Kind of ease and wiggle it in a little. Hmm. And then to release, bring your hands to the earth and appreciate this earth. And then walk the torso back up, lean back, and stretch out the legs. Hmm. And just sink into the shoulders. Ha. And feel where you are now. Hmm. Hmm. And if the body feels taxed, you take your breath, take your awareness. Awareness is aware. I always love that. Hmm. Hmm. And then please come on back up and find a way onto your front body, your belly. Bring your heads towards the front, and then just come down to rest on your belly with your hands being supporting your head. Yeah. Yeah. And as you do that, savor, feel the precious ground beneath you. We happen to be outside right now. Maybe some of you at home are too. But this precious earth, if you want to be grounded, just get outside on the earth. Walk barefoot on this earth, this precious earth that's part of us. Mm. And then pay attention to how the legs are resting, how far apart they are, just in their natural way. They might fall out a little bit, the toes might fall inward a little bit or out. There's a natural alignment here. So find that natural alignment in the legs. Let the legs soften on the earth. Hmm. And then as awareness climbs up the legs, feel and allow the belly to grow soft on the earth. Hmm. And feel how the buttock softens and the lower back sways a little bit. See if you can let go into that little sway in the lumbar curve. Mm, mm. And then continue allowing awareness to climb up the torso as the front body softens down. And then to come up into the Sphinx, bring your elbows, come up onto your elbows and forearms and bring them just a little bit in front of the shoulders. And your hands hold around it to get shoulders distance. And your hands can come out into prayer. I particularly like to just hold the chin sometimes, or bring your hands in prayer for the head, or again, you can use those blocks, right? Hmm. I like the idea of holding the head in some way because I find that it allows the neck to relax and the back to relax and the spine to kind of settle into the back body. So then bring your awareness into the back body and feel how the spine just kind of settles down into it. And how the muscles along the spine relax a little like feathers. And the shoulders can might be a little raised because we're not using the bones so much, right? We're not using the muscles, I mean, really. So if I use the muscles, I'd bring them down, but just let the muscles go. So it is the bones that support the body. Now, if you have a chronic condition in the shoulder, you might just spread the collarbones a little bit just for a little engagement to create stability. Otherwise, see if you can just let go a little more. Hmm. Hmm. And then bring your awareness again back down into the lower abdomen as you breathe. Again, gathering and storing. And then visualize the breath and energy as you inhale right below the navel till it goes down under the root, up along the back of the spine, over the crown to the third eye, and you pause there for 2 counts. 1 ohm, 2 ohm. And as you exhale, you visualize the breath and energy from the third eye down along the front of the spine, right back down to below the navel, where you pause again 2 counts. And to do that circular breath, it's called Shoshuten, down under, over the back to the third eye, pause, and then along the front, and pause again. It is said that the lungs are thought of as being the life giving network of the whole body, the breath of life. The lungs communicate between the inner and outer atmosphere and constitute a key organ for our existence. Mm. It's traditionally thought to protect the body from colds and flus, so we really want to keep it healthy. We know now, particularly now with all that's going on. The physical issues are respiratory disorders, allergies, asthma. So we have so much we can help ourselves with. Hmm. The large intestine is said to be the fountain of youth and functions to remove water, eliminate waste, responsible for cleansing and detoxing on so many levels. It said physically it eliminates waste from the bowels, but mentally it controls negativity, toxic thought, or what might can be considered mental constipation, right? And emotionally and spiritually, it governs the ability to let go. So, any type of holding on constipation actually is considered an imbalance in the large intestine. Hmm. So, take another few breaths here. And as you do that, bring your hands out on the ground, spread them on your mat towards the edge, and then straighten the arms for just a few breaths, just to give a little more into the arms. There you go. If you want more, you just walk the hands back a little bit. But let's just be here and seal for a few breaths. And if that's not appropriate, stay in Sphinx. Hmm. Hmm. And then slowly release the torso down, spread the elbows once again. Bring one hand above the other. Take rest. Again, feel the result of that pose. And if you feel taxed in any way, take your breath there, that life energy there. Hmm. And then please bring your hands under your shoulders, press back into child for a moment, and pause. Hmm. Energetically, when we're out of balance here with the lungs and large intestine, there's a sense of rigidity in the muscles, dogmatism, possessiveness, an inability to let go. We're learning more and more. So when in balance, there's that strong sense of aesthetics and wholehearted interest in the spiritual realms, really knowing who we are. Hmm. Emotionally, out of balance, there can be grief, and ability to express grief, sadness, hypercritical, perpetual dissatisfaction and sorrow. But when we're in balance here, there's an accepting, there's discipline, calm, and a reverence for life. So just doing our practice helps to open these energies. What a blessing. So now, if you would come up onto all fours, But come on to your elbows. Excuse me. So hips are right over your knees. And then stretch your right arm. Just let it lengthen out. And take your left elbow forward to meet the right elbow and take your left hand across to the right. And then just drop down. So your left hand is over towards the right elbow. And then you just drop through. Options here, you can rest your forehead on your forearm. You can have a blanket under your head or turn your head towards the bent elbow. There we go. All right. So it's not a twist, right? It's not that your arm's sliding through, but that the elbows are shoulders width apart and the hand just comes across. There you go. And it rests either on top of the arm or under. This pose, number one, it's such a great pose to open the shoulders, the upper back. Those of us, we start to get a little kyphosis, that rounding in the back. Just do this pose every day and you'll start to see a shift and feel a shift. It's so great for that tension in the musculature in the back. But it can take a lot. So if you need less, you open the elbows a little wider. Take a few breaths, let the heart drop through. Mm. Mentally healthy lung and large intestine energy allows us to meet life with equanimity, confidence, perseverance, and an ability to stay centered amidst challenges. Well, we know that, it can also, as we spoke of earlier, that there's a clarity of thoughts when we're in balance here. Out of balance, indecisive and confused, disconnected. It's easy during this time, and you can feel how things are flurrying and the state of life, the country, all that comes along with it. We all feel everything. We don't live in a bubble, but we can tend to ourselves. In this way, we can have more to give to others. That's my experience, right? Hmm. But when we're in balance, there's that sense of courage, resilience, willingness to endure, positivity. Hmm. So once again, remember you always have the ally of breath, but it also helps you to just see clearly what arises, what passes. And sometimes I love this teaching of just recognizing that the foundation that things are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. It takes, it gets rid of a lot of the stories. So in this next half minute, as you're here, whether you're struggling or whether it's easy, just notice if it feels pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Hmm. Hmm. Take another breath or two. Hmm. To release, please slide your hands under your shoulders. Come up onto all fours. Take your hands under your shoulders and then take a breath and round the spine. Slide the sacrum down, tuck in the chin. Take a breath or two into the back body. Hmm. And then please allow the spine to gently lengthen. Come back on your forearms. And this time, stretch the left arm forward and slide your right elbow forward a little bit as you cross it over to for the right hand to be either above or under the left elbow, and then drop the torso through. Now, this is where you really have to pay attention, feel what's happening. Do you need less? Widen your elbows a little bit. Find a place that feels doable, tolerable. You want to grow in tolerance, but we can start soft. And then if you want more, you find more. And then you scan and you relax again and again. That first of the four foundations actually speaks of the body feelings, the contemplation of the body. And you notice the pleasant, the unpleasant, the neutral. You breathe, you relax. You know you're taking a breath in, you know you're taking a breath out. You feel tensions dissolve or tensions there. Awareness is aware. You remember that Ujjayi breath can be a companion. Hmm. So the contemplation of the body, breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. I'm lying down, I'm standing, resting on the earth. Awareness is aware. The feelings that show up in the three ways of pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Contemplation of feelings. Watching and noting is the principal activity. So we don't get caught in the grasping or aversion. Hmm. Find a breath now that supports you, whether it's simply the Ujjayi three-part breath or the visualization. You're doing great. Sometimes you have to adjust the head a little bit, one way or the other way. So life and our practice is not all or nothing. Hmm. Sometimes we have to come out sooner than we were hoping. That too is okay. Sometimes we come out and we go back in. You're all doing so great just where you are. Just a few more moments. Hmm. Last breath. And then please slide your hands under your shoulders, come up onto all fours. Once again, round the spine. Let your body just shift a little bit there. And once again, press back into your child for a breath or two. Okay. And then please come up to sitting and come to sit at the edge of your blanket or your cushion. And then extend the legs out in front. This is a great place to see what the natural alignment of your bones are. Most of us are not quite hip width apart. We might be closer. I'm a little bit further, and my legs tend to fall out. So just take a look at yourself and notice. You might look around if you have others around you and see that we're all so different. For me, I like to have a little bend because for a forward fold, if I don't, I'm a little sitting back because it takes a while. My hamstrings are a little short. So I just start with a soft bend in the knee and then a little forward fold. I like wiggle out of the waist just a little bit and then just fall forward. Not unlike our butterfly pose, right? And then slide your hands down the leg and settle in. Now, over time, you might find that your legs soften and you can press the heels away a little bit. The back softens and you can reach a little further. But it's not an active practice, it's just meeting, and by things soften and we can make little shifts. But there's no goal, right? It's really the goal is here and now. Here and now. That third contemplation is the contemplation of the mind, where the meditator observes his mind state, whether it's affected by any attraction or aversion or by delusion. So we notice that there were feelings, and then it's not unusual that when we like something or something's pleasant, there's attraction and there's grasping. When we feel unpleasant, there's that aversion. But we recognize that none of these states are permanently embedded. This is such good news. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Mm. And then it's always skillful to wish yourself well. Really, this is a time of blessing. So, blessing ourselves, may I be free from fear and harm. May I be happy as I am. May I be at peace with what comes my way. May I feel safe. May I feel content. May I meet this moment fully. May I meet it as a friend. Hmm. In these last few moments, just scan around and see if there anything else you can just bring a little breath and soften a little more. Sometimes just creating space for what is allows a softening, right? Hmm. Hmm. Last breath. See if the body wants to wiggle in just a little more. Lengthen the arms a little more. The legs. Hmm. And then please bring your hands to the earth and walk the torso back up. Just bring your hands behind you again. Just kind of sink into it. And this is where you feel the effect. Whew. And then please come down onto the ground. If you have a block or a blanket or bolster near you, so when we come into knee down twist, there's a variety of ways, right? So options for your knee down twist. First, just come on the watch for a moment before you go down. So you're going to have your options for your knee down twist. You can do your traditional knee down twist with your leg on the thigh and roll over, and lengthening the arm. right? Some of you might just like to shift your hips, just draw your knees in and roll over. This is where it's really nice to have a blanket or something between the leg. You can kind of more that goes more in. Some people like to cross one over the other, right? So it's a little bit of an experiment for you. Okay. So come on to your back, please. First, take a moment and find that neutrality of spine. The neck is long and the shoulders down. Yeah. And the arms are extended. And press into your hips. Lift the hips and shift them to the left to begin. And then you make a choice if you want to draw both knees in and roll over, or your left foot on your right leg and you roll over, or a little knee over. So just find yours, yogi choice, please. And then wriggle the upper body so your left shoulder blades on the ground, and the arm is extended but soft, either out to the side or gradually you might come a little closer towards the ears. Hmm. And we just play in there a little bit because things change. Having blocks under the knees help a little bit. So a way that you can soften, not be in that heightened state of aversion or tension. Hmm. Hmm. And so we noticed in our contemplation of mind and the noticing of things that are pleasant and the aversion and grasping. So it's really the noticing of wholesome or unwholesome states. And I love this. So if there are wholesome states, the teachings say keep them there. I love that. And if they're not, then do something about it. Wish yourself well, right? Take a little metta practice. Hmm. Be grateful for something. Hmm. Hmm. So once you've settled in, the contemplation of mental objects talks about the mind states of desire or wanting or aversion, not wanting. That energy that is also sleepiness, the sloth and torpor that happens. And I think that's showing up a lot for us during this time, is both that rest and restlessness, I got to do something, or sloth and torpor, I can't do anything. It's such an interesting time to watch how the relative mind and heart respond to the situation. That restlessness is just so much energy, and that sloth and torpor is not enough energy. And then, of course, there's doubt, insecurity, the big doubts, the little doubts. We're having a multi hindrance attack here during this pandemic, I think. You never know what's going to show up on any given day. But what a blessing to have a practice and a sense of humor and an ability to see ourselves and have space for ourselves and love ourselves through it and love each other. Hmm. We'll take a few more moments here and then gently release that hand. Come back to the center, shift your hips. Hmm. Feel what's happening now. Back here in the center. Twisting poses are great for balance, right? Trying to create a sense of equanimity. Hmm. And then to create balance, lift their hips and shift them in the opposite direction. Whatever that was for you, choose your twist of choice, either knees in or one leg. Remember, your shoulder is your ground. You can let that other opposite arm extend out or overhead. Hmm. And let's just take this half in quiet and in a contemplative way to meet yourself. Remember, breath is your ally, and awareness is aware of all that arises and passes. Take another breath. Body would like to ease in a little more. And the body to unwind back onto the earth. Again, touching the ground beneath you, knowing that you are always supported. You can let go. Shift your hips back to the center. Pause for a moment. Hmm. Hmm. To complete the yin practice, simply draw your knees in towards your chest and open them wide. Take hold either behind the thighs or around the shins. Keep your sacrum on the ground. Hmm. If it is possible, slide your hands along the inside to the ankles. Hmm. And if you want, hold to the big toes and come into happy baby. It's like the feet are standing on the sky or the ceiling. If you need, you just bring the feet closer to keep the sacrum on the ground. See how this involves all the meridians in the arms, legs. Obviously, while we have a focus There is a multi meridian experience happening here. So now allow your breath to just breathe up and down the central channel. And then at the top of the breath, pause for a few counts. And then as you exhale, empty it fully and pause on the external for a few counts. And take a few breaths in that way, inhaling to the top and holding, and then exhaling out and holding out. All along, tracing the energy up and down through the central channel, like invisible spine in the center of you. And then release the breath of any doing. Let yourself be breathed. And then release the pose by drawing your knees into your chest. Hmm. And pause and feel. Hmm. Hmm. And then bring your feet to the floor. And then simply take your block next to you, lift your hips, block under your sacrum. You can just then relax onto that block in any of the heights, right? Not too high. Hmm. The other. And if you like, you can lengthen your legs towards the sky. Relax down into their sockets. Just a little inversion here. If the arms are comfortable behind you, overhead. Breathe. This pose is so for slowing down the nervous system. Truthfully, the other night, I just put my legs up against the wall. I covered myself and I breathed and I calmed down. Whatever was going on, fell asleep with my legs on the wall, and then I relaxed back down. Mm. Bring us home in balance and harmony. Ease the knees. Of course, you can always stay longer if you had a bolster. You could use that or blankets and bring your feet to the earth, toes, and lift your hips. Slide the block out. Hmm. Yeah. You might feel how this energy is now flowing. Now, if your body is in need of any little stretch or movement, please take a few moments to respond before we take rest. So just ask what's needed. Let the body be guided. Hmm. Hmm. and then prepare yourself for rest. If you have something to cover the eyes, I highly recommend it, or a blanket or bolster under the knees. Let the body really splay out, take up space. Hmm. And then as the back body, feel and breathe the back body. Feel how it lets go to Mother Earth. And then as you just take a few breaths, the Radiant Sutras would say attend to the skin as a subtle boundary containing vastness. Perhaps as you breathe, you can feel that vastness being just surrounded by that subtle boundary. And enter that pulsing immensity and discover that you are not separate from anything there. There's no inside, there's no outside, there is no other, no object that is not you. Tend to the skin like a subtle boundary to the vastness that is you, and rest here. Om Namah Shivaya. Gurave Satchidanandamudaya. Namastasmai. 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 Namo Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Gurave Satchidanandamudaya. Namastasmai. 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 Namo Namaha. Om. As you hear the sound of the bell and the sound of my voice, just allowing the sense doors to open, any sounds around you. Mm. Mm. Sounds of life. And then let your breath deepen a little bit and feel back into the body, but the vastness within the subtle boundary. Hmm. And invite a little movement from fingers and toes. Stretch a little. Hmm. Gradually draw the knees in towards your chest and give yourselves a nice hug. Use those arms to embrace this precious one. Mm. These arms like a blessing as you step forward into this world. Mm. And then gradually roll over to one side. Yeah. Appreciate yourself and this time to find balance, to align with nature, yourself. Remember who you are. And then please press your hands into the earth. Come on up to sitting. And come to sit on your cushion or your blanket. Mm. Mm. And find your seat. You know, we take our seat wherever we go. So find your seat grounded. Whatever is touching this earth, this blessed earth. And gently lengthen from this earth right up to the crown. Hmm. Feel where you are now. Hmm. This physical, mental, emotional, energetic being. And perhaps the awareness that is expanded, the vastness, as the Yoga Sutras spoke of, vastness within the boundary of the skin that you are. Hmm. Take a few moments, if you would, to reflect on our time together today and our inquiries into finding balance for the season and the four foundations, looking at the physical and the feeling tones and the mental and mental objects. Just notice if anything stands out for you, something that you want to take back with you into your life, or some way the body was that you learned something about yourself today. Just reflect a few moments and notice if there were any insights, awarenesses. Mm. And then drop in a little bit deeper, really that place of wisdom and knowing. And from that place, listen. Given all that has happened today and my life, what is the knowing for me today? What do I need to remember as I step back into the world? And then, as any wisdom arises, just repeat it back to your own heart. And then, may we take a moment of gratitude for all that we have received, just a thank you in our hearts for the blessings of the company we share, the teachings that flow through, the insights we learn by being present, Awareness is aware. So much gratitude in this precious life. And then may we send a blessing to all beings everywhere. May the benefit of our practice reach out to touch all hearts. May all beings know happiness and the root of happiness. May all be free of all suffering and the root of suffering. May all feel blessed and be a blessing to each other. May this reach out to touch all hearts without one exception. And if you'd like, in closing, let's chant our dedication, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. We'll begin with Om, chant it 3 times, and end with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So taking a breath. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all beings everywhere be happy and know peace. Mm. And as we bring our hands in prayer, bowing to our own hearts and each other, Jai Bhagwan, Jai Bhagwan. So wonderful to be with you and to hear your voices with me. And thank you for joining us at home. And many blessings to you. May you know that you are a blessing.